World War II, the deadliest conflict in human history. Over 70 million lives lost. Cities turned to rubble. Empires collapsed. And the world forever changed. But how did it begin? Who were the key players? And how did a global nightmare finally come to an end? Today, we'll explore the entire history of World War II, from the roots of destruction to the ashes of peace, in just 30 minutes.
To understand World War II, we have to go back to the end of World War I. The year was 1919. The Treaty of Versailles ended the Great War, but it sowed the seeds of the next one. Germany, defeated and humiliated, was forced to pay enormous reparations. Its economy collapsed. Its people were angry, desperate. In this chaos, a failed artist named Adolf Hitler rose to power. He blamed Germany's problems on outsiders, particularly Jews and communists, and promised to restore German pride. By 1933, Hitler was chancellor. By 1934, dictator. Germany rearmed, violating the treaty. The world looked the other way. Meanwhile, in Italy, Benito Mussolini dreamed of a new Roman Empire. And in Japan, militarists sought dominance in Asia. These three nations formed the Axis powers, and the world held its breath.
On September 1st, 1939, the world changed forever. German troops invaded Poland. Britain and France declared war. World War II had begun. The Germans used a new kind of warfare, blitzkrieg, or lightning war, fast, brutal, coordinated attacks using tanks, planes, and infantry. Poland fell in weeks. Then came Denmark, Norway, the Netherlands, Belgium. In June 1940, France, thought to be invincible, collapsed in just 6 weeks. The Nazis controlled most of Western Europe. Britain stood alone. We shall never surrender. Winston Churchill. The Battle of Britain began. Night after night, German bombers rained fire on London. But Britain didn't fall. Hitler, frustrated, turned east. In June 1941, he launched Operation Barbarossa, the largest invasion in history against the Soviet Union. The Germans advanced rapidly, but they weren't prepared for Russia's brutal winters or its people's resilience.
In Asia, Japan had already invaded Manchuria in 1931 and China in 1937. The West condemned the aggression, but did little. Tensions grew between Japan and the United States. Japan relied on oil, most of which came from the US. When America cut exports, Japan struck. December 7, 1941, a date which will live in infamy. The attack on Pearl Harbor brought the United States into the war. Now it was truly a world war. The Allies, Britain, the Soviet Union, China, and now the US, were determined to turn the tide. In 1942, the Battle of Midway crushed Japan's naval ambitions. In North Africa, British forces defeated Rommel's Afrika Korps. And in Stalingrad, Hitler's greatest gamble, the Soviet Red Army held the line. By early 1943, the tide was turning.
The Allies gained momentum. In Italy, Mussolini was overthrown. American and British forces landed in Sicily, then mainland Italy. Meanwhile, in the Pacific, island by island, U.S. Marines pushed forward. Guadalcanal, Tarawa, Saipan. The cost was enormous, but Japan was being pushed back. June 6, 1944, over 150,000 Allied troops stormed the beaches of Normandy, France. It was the largest amphibious invasion in history and a turning point. Within months, Paris was liberated. The Nazis were retreating. In 1945, the walls closed in on Hitler. The Soviets pushed from the east, the Western Allies from the west. Germany was in ruins. On April 30th, 1945, Hitler took his own life in a Berlin bunker. 1 week later, Germany surrendered. Victory in Europe, May 8th, 1945. As the war ended, the full horror was revealed. Concentration camps, the Holocaust, 6 million Jews murdered, along with millions of others. But the war wasn't over. In the Pacific, Japan refused to surrender. The US made a fateful decision. 2 atomic bombs, Hiroshima, Nagasaki. Over 100,000 killed instantly. On August 15th, 1945, Japan surrendered. World War II was finally over.
The cost of World War II was unimaginable. 70 to 85 million people dead, cities destroyed, economies shattered. But from the ashes came new beginnings. The United Nations was born. Germany and Japan became democracies. Europe rebuilt with US aid through the Marshall Plan. Yet the world entered a new conflict, the Cold War, between the US and the Soviet Union. The legacy of World War II shapes our world to this day. Our borders, our institutions, our fears, and our hopes.
World War II was not just the clash of armies, it was a battle of ideologies, of freedom versus tyranny, hatred versus humanity. And though it ended 80 years ago, its lessons remain vital. We remember not just the battles, but the people, the soldiers, the civilians, the survivors, the lost. Because history isn't just about what happened, it's about what we choose to learn and never forget. If you found this video powerful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. And tell us in the comments, what story from World War II moved you the most?